Hi folks, John Dunn here, RPG freelancer, publisher behind Meliorvia. I am up here at Immortals Inc. today with Mikey.
What is up, John? It seems like the holidays are concluding on us. What do we got to talk about today?
Well, there's a couple of new things that have come in pretty recently, and one of the things we've talked about several times in the past is the Cypher System.
Yeah.
Right? We talked about Old Gods of Appalachia, we talked about Magnus Archives, and then going back a little further, I think we talked about their horror supplement.
Yep.
Well, we finally managed to get some copies of the starter set for the Cypher System. And this is very much just a kind of a get your foot in the door and figure out whether this is a system that you like. And because of that, it gives you just enough to get started, check it out, try a couple of adventures. So let's dive in, right? So this is Monty Cook and Sean K. Reynolds are both on the cover. We've talked about both of them before. Monty basically launched the RPG PDF market and was a key part of Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition. Sean K. Reynolds worked at TSR, at WotC, at Paizo, did a lot of stuff for Greyhawk and Pathfinder, and worked on quite a few other books we talked about before. This box set, like I said, is very much a sampler, right? It's kind of an intro to the system. It doesn't give you as much as the core book, but it gives you plenty to get started and check it out. And it's worth mentioning, those other books that we've talked about, like Magnus Archives, etc., don't need this. They do contain all the system rules within it. This is just if you want a little more general overview of the different things the system can do. There's a bunch of stuff in this box, right? So I'm going to go through it piece by piece. Right on top when you open the box, there is a before you start that tells you about everything that's in there, but we're going to ignore that because I'm going to tell you what's in here.
Nice.
Yeah. We got two 32-page books. First one of these is the player's book. Not really quite the tome that you think of when we haul out some of these other books. Yeah. It is 32 pages. And the fact of the matter is, if you're a player, one of the first things they say in the intro is, well, try and read page 2. Right?
Just read page 2.
Yeah, pretty much. To get started, try and read page 2. If you're feeling really adventurous, maybe read all the way up to page 6.
Respect.
Okay, so what they're saying is this is an easy way to get your foot in the door, get the feel for it. The other thing that's worth mentioning is there isn't really a what is an RPG section. They're kind of assuming you know what an RPG is, that you've probably played some other games before, like say the Dungeons and Dragons that both of the creators worked on extensively. But if you haven't, they give you a nice little URL hyperlink that you can type in and visit a page that they have on their website about what is an RPG. After we get through that brief intro, pages 2 to 6 are how to play the Cypher System. It introduces types, which is basically their version of classes, stats, rolls, pools, effort, damage, and recovery skills, and then touches on GM intrusions and effects. These are basically the core mechanics of the Cypher System. Really, the gist of it is the Game Master's going to tell you what number you need, and you try and roll that on a D20. There's some more context to it than that, but that's really all you need to get started, and, a general idea of what's on the character sheet. After that, we get into an example of play. Then we get discussions of ciphers. Ciphers are those one-shot specialty items that kind of do something cool for you, and they're part of every Cypher System setting. Then it talks a little bit about character advancement, but only within the context of Tier 1, because like I said, this is just kind of a getting started book. It talks about fantasy, modern, and sci-fi gear lists, so if you want to have a campaign going in any of those three, you've got your basic adventuring gear. Then it does give you character creation rules, which some starters don't include, so you've got that going for you. And you get 4 different types, the Tier 1 version of the Warrior, the Adept, the Explorer, and the Speaker. You get 9 different descriptors and 12 foci, so that you can create that sentence, my character name is a type with a descriptor who focus, right? And then we get into a glossary afterwards. So we've kind of talked about that before. We've talked about the Cypher System. This is basically just what you need to get started with it. After that, we've got the Game Master's book. Game Master's book covers running the game, really just your basic overview of things. It gives you 23 different Cypher examples with their effects. Gives you some GM intrusion ideas. So you have some idea what you're getting into when you need to make a GM intrusion, which is basically the Cypher System version of a critical failure. It gives you some creatures, not a ton, but it gives you 6 that are pretty well detailed, and then 31 that are just enough stats to be functional. And then you have a intro 7-page fantasy adventure and an intro 7-page sci-fi adventure. What's handy about that is that those adventures work really well with the pre-generated characters that you get. And you get 5 pre-generated characters each for, actually I might have just lied to you. Yeah, 5 pre-generated characters each for sci-fi and for fantasy. One of the things that I thought was pretty cool about these is that 2 of them use the same name descriptor type and focus, even though they're for different settings. And what's neat then is when you look at the character art for them, they are essentially the same character with different sci-fi and fantasy trappings.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought that was a neat touch. Kind of gives you that Michael Moorcock, Eternal Warrior, cross-dimensional, parallel universe thing going on there. And that really kind of suits some of the stuff that Cypher does. Some of the other little gribblies that you get some dice, a D20 and a D6.
The one, the only.
You get a quick reference sheet, which is kind of useful. You get some cards, some GM intrusion cards, which kind of have the nice little Cypher System backing on them. And then you also have a cut down XP deck, which they do sell bigger and better versions of both of these, but this is enough to get you started. It's 10 XP cards and 12 of the intrusion cards. There is a map that folds out and covers both adventures, one for the sci-fi, one for the fantasy.
Nice.
Yep. And that's pretty much everything. It's a box set. It's full color. Everything in there is paperback, but you do get the 2 paperbacks, the cards, the characters, the maps, the dice. It's from Monty Cook Games. It's all shrink wrapped up. Nice box to store it in. $30. We got them on the shelf here at Immortals Inc. or available at immortalsinc.com.
Very well said, John. You guys come pick it up or check it out right below. See you guys next time.
Till next time, folks. Good gaming.